service sector companies, modern service sector companies. You can be company providing cross-border digital payment, software services. They go where other Chinese companies go.
We see companies have been talking about going abroad, expanding their business abroad for quite a while now. But this year, any interesting trends you've witnessed?
There are perhaps two relatively new elements. One is some of the overseas economies are doing relatively well. The other is the geopolitics. So many of the foreign countries are erecting politics-motivated trade barriers. So, U.S., for example, say we don't want to see certain products coming from China directly. One way to respond to that kind of geopolitical factor is to set up factories in third countries.
I assume you've been working with a lot of companies, a lot of Chinese companies who plan to go abroad. Are you now traveling more frequently to overseas countries?
I travel quite a bit, not just for...
Traveling more frequently to overseas countries?
I travel quite a bit, not just for talking to companies, but including visiting companies, talking to companies as well. Yeah.
What are the most frequently asked questions currently?
Well, there are questions asked by the companies. There are also questions asked by the host countries. Companies want to know, what exactly are the opportunities? How does a particular host country work? Right. So, what are the unknown risks? Other countries are also trying to figure out appropriate policies. Many countries tend to think that importing from China or welcoming Chinese firms to invest in their country is more beneficial than buying products directly from China, because buying product directly from China often means displacing their domestic firms, creating job losses for them, whereas welcoming Chinese firms to their country means creation of jobs, and that's good for them. So many governments take that kind of views. There are exceptions. For at the moment, United States is one exception. So they are much less receptive to Chinese companies going to US than 30 years ago, when their view towards Japanese firms were more receptive. But there are plenty of countries in the world that they are generally welcoming foreign firms coming to their countries. So there are a lot of opportunities from that point of view.
So when do you think we can start to see more Chinese companies be large multinationals?
We're already seeing many very large multinational firms. We're going to see more for sure. Yeah.
Like in the next decade?
Sure. By the end of next decade, we're going to see many globally large, well-known Chinese companies.
Professor Wei, thanks for your time.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Heidi Dugan, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
When he arrived in Australia at the weekend, Chinese Premier Li Qiang said that relations between the two countries are back on track. Is that how Australian businesses here in China see it?
Yeah, absolutely. When we're trying to build our business in China and Shanghai specifically, we are looking to the government and the dialogue that they're having. So from last year with our Prime Minister coming to China and now Premier Li Qiang going to Australia, it just is that encouraging step that we're taking note of to recommit into the market and to really sort of sharpen the sword with the two markets.
Now, there were significant trade barriers in place for a little while, tariffs particularly on agricultural and mining products coming to China from Australia. How are Australian businesses responding now that those are mostly gone?
Yeah, the recovery of coal, cotton, barley has been very encouraging for us, and it's a step in the right direction. For any business in a foreign market, what we look to is the support from that local government and also the consistency of that support. So we're really confident that that will move in the right direction. And I think the thing is really important to say that the removal of these tariffs benefits both countries. And when we can find that win-win situation benefits both countries, it's most likely to move in the right direction. So we're all very hopeful.
Now, China and Australia signed a series of memoranda of understanding, MOUs, on a number of things. Free trade, climate, education were on the list. But how significant is it that, at least sort of from my reading of it, dialogue was sort of put front and centre on those MOUs?
I think the dialogue is where everything starts, and we've seen so many more delegations. Interestingly, a lot from China going to Australia, and then also the reciprocal of Australian companies coming to China. The more that happens, the more dialogue that happens, what we see is businesses improve, we overcome challenges, but also we see new opportunities. We're now seeing new opportunities in areas that perhaps different from the agriculture, the food, the beverage. We're now seeing it in medical and especially also in green energy.
I suppose one of the most widely reported things to come out of the trip that Premier Li made to Australia is the introduction of this visa-free policy for Australian travellers coming to China. Is that going to make it easier for Australian businesses to do business here?
What this means is that businesses can make decisions very quickly, they can act on them, they can come into the country. The more that we have senior leaders coming into China, the more they understand the market, the more they understand culture. But really, it means they get the most up-to-date information. You can't get that if you're sitting back in Australia. You have to see it to believe it, and that's what we need. All the companies that are based here are just dying to get those business people back in the market so they can see for themselves everything that we've been saying. This is a great market, this is a great relationship, and we know that there is a future ahead of us.
Exciting times. Heidi Dugan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
大家好，我是星之使者悠悠龙，快跟随我一起来一场畅快的星际之旅吧！3、2、1，浩瀚宇宙是我们永远的中国梦，终有一天会抵达遥远的彼方。现在，让我们继续出发吧。
东盟分别与中国、韩国和日本。美国
联邦政府关门的危机。
澳俄乌冲突将是笼罩此次峰会的阴影。
敦促其他国家要避免火上浇油。
我在这个半个地球以外的华盛顿给找到了。
他们希望让自己的生活变得更加美好。
你好吗？
This was the first group of students I took to China.
My journey is deep into China.
Not too many people get this view.
very inspiring to look at.
Yes, this one's very good.
Mr. Christopher Nolan.
It's very exciting to be back in Shanghai.
I'm at NYU Shanghai. Give you an exclusive tour inside.
让更多的外国人更加理解了上海话的路。
对接“一带一路”倡议。
大家可以看一下，我们这儿有2个小角
中国制造搭载着天河和金仓的长征5号 B 遥2运载火箭，从这里点火起航。
First villages in the city to be renovated as
高士比的语言高就。
Welcome to the premiere of Chinese puzzle.
Learning the differences.
对我佩服，但月光下却一直害怕自己退步。你别。
SMG International.
Huangpu Marathon combines the International Roller Skating Marathon Tour.
Regarde, cet événement a l'air génial.
Oui, et Shanghai est juste magnifique.
Ça me donne vraiment envie d'y participer.
The Zootopia Park at the Shanghai Disney Resort.
В Китае отличная инфраструктура. Путешествовать очень удобно.
Время планировать поездку в Китай.
Are you ready to begin your studies in China?
I've already begun learning Chinese.
You can learn by following the Shanghai Eye 24-hour live stream.
和中国的天空，我们在同一天打天下。
在世界的东边，有个文明古国，它叫中国。
Like it blows my mind.
China has been a leader in embracing investment.
Decoupling of the economies is not a solution.
Die Freundschaft mit China nützt unsere Wirtschaft.
Ich habe jetzt ein besseres Verständnis für viele Kooperationskonzepte.
I would say China's a lot stronger today in innovation.
You should really check out these explanatory reports.
Joe Biden's official presidential car is Cadillac One, otherwise known as the Beast. So is its Chinese counterpart the Beauty?
How big is the ram of gold? In this incident, one could understand this as Western bias.
Wow, China is so different from what I imagined. Yes, we should understand China from multiple perspectives.
The big promise of technology is that it should make our lives and our work easier and more efficient. Agriculture might be one of the oldest forms of work there is. But modern agribusinesses have seized on the opportunity to innovate.
We should expect between 20 and 30% efficiency gain.
That means a few months, a few years?
No, that would be years.
He's talking specifically about the R&D cycle.
We are seeing a shortened innovation cycle today. Not only shortened, but a higher quality.
Jeff Rowe is the CEO of the Syngenta Group. I met him Monday at the company's office in Shanghai right after the signing ceremony between the group and Shanghai's Jingshan District Authority. That is where the company will build a 64,400 square meter crop protection innovation center.
China is moving very quickly. I think the innovation that we're seeing not only in the traditional chemistry, biotechnology, plant breeding, but also in new areas like artificial intelligence and digital are very exciting trends that are happening in China.
With this new innovation center, what new business are going to conduct in China and even around the world?
Well, this new innovation center is really, again, about plugging into the global network that we have. So we have, for crop protection, we have an innovation center today in Switzerland. We have another major one in the UK. And we have smaller innovation centers around the world. So what this does is it creates another big hub for us, another big base. And I think very importantly, it also allows us to perhaps expand the ecosystem, to expand the partnerships that we have. We've been developing in China for a long time, but I think this innovation center will accelerate the expansion of those collaborations.
What new area are you going to focus on?
We're going to be focused on all sorts of innovation. I would say that rice innovation is one of the big areas, not the only area, but one of the big areas that this innovation center would be focused on.
Now we see it's a bit of a time for AI development. Do you think AI will bring another breakthrough or even transformation to the agriculture industry?
Yeah, in fact, we're already seeing AI have a major impact on our R&D footprint. So basically every new product that we introduce has been touched in some form by artificial intelligence or machine learning. I see potential both in terms of our internal expertise and efficiency in R&D. We see it also internally with how we manage our supply chain. We have a very sophisticated, complex supply chain that has to operate very efficiently around the world. But then the third component is how we help artificial intelligence have an impact on farmers' decisions.
So in the AI field, there are a lot of new players. You may have heard of DeepSeek recently. What role do you think China is playing in that AI application?
AI, like really almost any innovation that you can think of in the world, China has an important role to play. And so I'm very excited about, how we can work with the ecosystems that exist in China today to be able to tap into what is being done, perhaps in other industries. It's a tool, but by itself, it's just a tool. We bring the expertise and the practical situation that allows the tool to really have an impact on something that matters to society as a whole, which is food security and improving climate change.
Will people be able to see this cooperation with your new research facility in Shanghai?
Yes, I believe people will be able to see this. Now, it takes a while for innovation to get to market. We call ourselves a long cycle business. It takes quite a while, very similar to, say, the pharmaceutical industry. But a lot of what people will see will be improved products that hopefully get to the market faster.
Syngenta's new innovation center in Shanghai will open in 2028. It's just one of the big-name companies which have confirmed their new investments in Shanghai since the start of the year. German optics giant Zeiss announced that it will purchase land in the China-Shanghai Pilot Free Trade Zone to build an integrated campus. Toyota Motor Corp said it will establish a new wholly owned company in Jingshan District in Shanghai to develop and produce EVs and batteries.
The current technologies come to an end.
The semiconductor industry is facing some major technological evolutions brought on by the demands of artificial intelligence.
Modern AI tools require a lot of computing power, which consumes a lot of energy.
The path ahead for the semiconductor industry is crystal clear.
Glass will be taking us to the next level.
The development of high-performance glass has brought new hope.
We are transitioning into the post-Moore era where, making tinier and tinier structures on silicon is getting more and more difficult. We're reaching the physical limits, and also it's getting more and more expensive. And advanced packaging is an alternative route to increase performance of semiconductors or semiconductor computing power.
German headquartered Schott established a division this year focusing specifically on high-end glass products and services for the semiconductor industry. While glass has long been a part of semiconductor manufacturing and in the equipment that manufactures semiconductors, a lot of the current emphasis is on how glass can be applied to semiconductor packaging.
Glass will become a part of the semiconductor packaging itself, and that presents a great opportunity in the next years to come. And it's now the right time for us to invest into that opportunity. With advanced glass packaging, it will be possible to increase the performance by about up to 40% and at the same time also lower energy consumption by 50%.
The company is now planning for something big in China. It has already been working with a Shenzhen-based tech firm that makes temporary bonding adhesives.
我们华讯目前的客户群体数量已经来到了快100家左右，这里面用到了玻璃的，那么大概有几十家左右。
The company started cooperating with Schott in 2018.
针对这种高端的芯片，像 CPU 啊、GPU 啊。等等这一项的一些服务器啊、网络啊等等这些高端芯片上面的封装制程，那么我们华讯公司和肖特展开了很多深度的合作。比如说，我们要防止我们的这个材料和玻璃晶圆的开裂，我们会跟肖特去讨论。那么玻璃晶圆表面做哪些处理啊？然后这表面做哪些高精度的加工等等。
Advanced packaging is something that is currently in a development phase with all the players in industry. And it will go into mass manufacturing probably in the second half of this decade. China plays an important role in that strategy because the Chinese semiconductor industry is really hot. And China is developing a lot in the semiconductor industry. For us, it has always been our strategy to partner with early movers.
Schott will be showing off its latest glass solutions for semiconductor industry at the China International Import Expo this year.
We have invested a lot in the recent years in China, not only in manufacturing and processing, but also in our R&D facilities and expanded our team here, especially in Suzhou also, for not only semiconductor, also other applications. If the growth continues in the way it does at this point in time, I think there's more to come.
So the big challenge last year was the global inflation shock and then the associated monetary tightening. So that will start to reverse this year. We project every single central bank in the world to be cutting interest rates. But even this year, so 2024, we're only going to be reversing about a third of the hiking cycle. Difference in China last year versus the rest of the world is that there was no inflation shock, and it was really sort of an idiosyncratic development in the property sector that was driving most of the dynamics. The other thing I'd say about last year is that consumption in China is still running well below trend, right? So there's clearly a reopening dynamic where things are recovering from the pandemic, but there's quite a bit to go, right? So I think looking ahead, there's plenty of scope, I think, for things to get better. If we look at this year, what we expect to happen, the most important thing is that the property market starts to stabilize. So,
despite all the noises and the rate hike activities from the Fed, still a lot of the investors are able to find good opportunities in good economies, stable economies like China, and also attractive targets and companies themselves that operates very well under these uncertainties in the macroeconomy. The focus of the investment and also our government, the Chinese government, has been in this consumer sector, in the high-tech sector. We have seen more and more investors either looking for new investment opportunities or spending more capital, helping their portfolio companies to turn around or accelerate the growth, finding the second engine. So these will be the sectors along together. So consumer sector, high-tech sector, along with healthcare, that they are going to see that a more resilient growth in the months to come.
Now 现在在这儿要输入手机号的后4位。你也把安全带带上。
祝您行程愉快。
我们要解决第一个问题，就是要完成这个相对而言比较宽的这个路口的左转，而且它这个左转车道其实是比较偏的，它不是常规的在最左边啊，它其实是在右边的一个左转车道，包括这边还有车子啊，它现在在避让。哦，他是掉头，对，掉头。哦，我发现他是掉头，他是自己完成了一个掉头的动作。这是一个直行道，他现在可能就是因为 红绿灯、信号灯今天正好有问题，所以就导致了它这个车现在就不动了。对。
Consumer spending has been going through a rough patch, but the Shanghai city government has a plan to turn things around. Part of that plan involves tourists. And that's why I'm on board the Chinese-built and operated Adora Magic City cruise ship.
This place is huge. I knew objectively before I got on board that the ship was going to be big, but I was not prepared for it to be quite as big as it is. Before I did get on board, I walked the length of the ship along the dock. And it took me more than 2 minutes. That's almost as long as it takes me to walk 2 city blocks in Shanghai.
It's a mix of like between being shocked and surprised, because I did not expect so many things to be in just one ship. The swimming pool, the tour guide said that it actually opens, so it can even let the sun inside, which is I would say really it would be a really nice experience, to be inside the pool, inside the ship. Inside the sea. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it's really, I'd say it would be my favorite place if I'm here.
The ship's just back from Japan and about to embark again.
The Shanghai International Cruise Festival is all part of the city's summer consumption season event, which is all about boosting spending. And one thing that's on display at the moment is the huge growth in demand for the cruise sector. It's something I thought really most of the demand was coming just from the older generation, but that's certainly not true. We're going to have 1.5 million passengers both arriving and departing from the Wusongkou port here in Baoshan this year alone.
This one is huge. I feel like one day is not enough to explore all the little, all the places here. It's so luxurious and the staff is so polite. If I could, I would take my family for this trip just to enjoy. You have beautiful restaurant, you have swimming pool, you have beautiful views behind the window. I think it's all you need to relax.
So how does a cruise boost consumption for Shanghai? Well, these ships bring in thousands of passengers who then pour into the city's attractions. They come to shop, they come to eat, they come to sightsee. They're not going to spend all of their time here by the pool.
And that can play a part in keeping consumer spending afloat.
上的确对于这个氢类的运输的需求，逐年都在增长，而且我们也看准了这一个市场的机遇，意味着今后我们的大规模的批量的一个出口的这个路径就打通了。 们的调研组也是深入到这个车间去看了它的整个生产过程，了解了这个产品的内部结构，以及它那个整个的一个物理反应、化学反应的这个过程，然后去制定了一个比较合适的，能确保这个产品合规安全运输的一个要求，安全的前提下，最大的去给企业提供一个便利。
当你击穿点亮的时候，你就可以看到，这个装置里面它是产生了这种发光的等离子体。那么点亮就意味着这台托克马赫装置，它所有的系统都在按照它预设的这个目标参数在运行了。
采用高温超导材料的好处就是在维持性能的情况下，我们可以大幅的缩小装置体积，所以大大的降低它的建造成本，缩短它的建设时间。
在上海本地有非常多的优秀的这个供应商，在大家一起努力的情况下，在核电方向，我们才能够在2年的时间里面把这样一台装置去建起来，落地上海。可能在现在回头来看的话，是一个非常正确的一个选择和一个决策。
中国、韩国和日本。
美国联邦政府关门的危机。
炒作俄乌冲突将是笼罩此次峰会的阴影。敦促其他国家要避免火上浇油。
我在这个半个地球以外的华盛顿给找到了。
他们希望让自己的生活变得更加美好。
你好吗？
This was the first group of students I took to China.
My journey is deep into China.
Not too many people get this view.
Very inspiring to look at.
Yes, this one's ready.
Mr. Christopher Nolan.
It's very exciting to be back in Shanghai.
I'm at NYU Shanghai. Give you an exclusive tour inside.
让更多的外国人更加理解了上海话的路。
上海地顶
可以接“一带一路”倡议。
大家可以看一下，我们这儿有2个小小驾驶着中国制造、
搭载着天河和金仓的长征5号 B 遥2运载火箭从这里点火起航。
First villages in the city to be renovated as got to be 的语言高度。
Welcome to the premiere of Chinese puzzle.
Learning the differences.
对我佩服，但月光下却一直害怕自己退步，你别理会。
SMG International.
Huangpu Marathon combines the International Roller Skating Marathon Tour.
Regarde, cet événement a l'air génial.
Oui, et Shanghai est juste magnifique.
Ça me donne vraiment envie d'y participer.
The Zootopia Park at the Shanghai Disney Resort.
В Китае отличная инфраструктура. Путешествовать очень удобно.
Время планировать поездку в Китай.
Are you ready to begin your studies in China?
I've already begun learning Chinese.
You can learn by following the Shanghai Eye 24-hour live stream.
和中国的天空，我们再撑一天打天下。
在世界的东边，有个文明古国，它叫中国。
Like it blows my mind.
中国制造非常安全的国家。
China has been a leader in embracing investment.
Decoupling of the economies is not a solution.
Die Freundschaft mit China nützt unsere Wirtschaft.
Ich habe jetzt ein besseres Verständnis für viele Kooperationskonzepte.
I would say China is a lot stronger today in innovation.
You should really check out these explanatory reports.
Joe Biden's official presidential car is Cadillac One, otherwise known as the Beast. So is its Chinese counterpart the Beauty?
How big is a gram of gold? In this instance, one could understand this as Western bias.
Wow, China is so different from what I imagined. Yes, we should understand China from multiple perspectives.
乔远1502，乔远1502，海巡东幺教收到，请回答。乔远1502，乔远1502，海巡东幺教收到，请回答。科长，对方未回应。
查他的船舶信息，3副掉头往那个方向去，看一下什么情况。
Zhang Chunpei became China's first female captain of a marine patrol ship this year. She has worked for a decade aboard Haixun 01, which is responsible for cruise and emergency response calls.
有点像海上的交警，比如说海上船舶的会违章啊，船舶排污染物，在海上发生的一些事故， 比如说有船舶碰撞呀，有船员遇险啊，那我们要开展海上的救助。
The China Maritime Safety Administration commissioned the ship in 2013, the year Zhan joined the force. Her first mission was as part of the search and rescue efforts for the missing flight MH370 in 2014. She experienced severe seasickness on the first day, but soon overcame it and stayed on the ship for over 200 days.
海巡016轮当时是作为中方搜救的指挥船，第一个抵达南印东洋，是最后一个撤离的。很多时候，我们面临的最大的挑战，不是说海上的恶劣的海洋环境，最大的煎熬可能就是要在希望跟失望之间反反复复的，但是还是要继续坚持下去的这种信念。有一点点希望，我们就要尽万分的努力。
Part of the reason she took on a career at sea is because of her brother.
上高中的时候，本来就是想从军从警这一类的专业的。我哥哥是海军，给我推荐了上海海事大学的航海技术专业。真正参与到海上工作之前，我觉得我会遇到很多的困难，包括我自己生理素质能不能应对海上的这一些工作。但是真正投入到工作，觉得这些都是能一一化解的。就比如说船上的这些工作条件，其实并没有很多人想象中那么艰苦。就是现代化的船舶，它是各方面的设施设备都已经有了很大的改善了。
Zhan spends more than 180 days at sea on average each year. Over the decade, she took part in more than 20 major rescues as the ship sailed the Yangtze River estuary, South Indian Ocean, East China Sea, and the islands and reefs in the South China Sea. Zhan also leads 6 research projects designed to improve maritime regulation and emergency response capabilities. Her team developed a drifting marker for overboard personnel based on autonomous maritime radio devices and Beidou satellite communication. They have also explored effective ways to use drones for search and medical support missions. They work with Shanghai East Hospital and Tongji Hospital to prepare and provide more efficient first aid. Haishun 01 has a crew of about 30, including 2 or 3 women.
现在新进的人员里面，我们学航海、学轮机的女生也在逐步的增多。如果有女生想从事这个行业的话，你就去了解、去试一试，看看自己适不适合。除此之外的话，我觉得这个其实是不限制性别的，尤其是我们是一条公务船，它其实更多的是对心理素质还有专业技能的考验，体力、体能方面并没有那么严苛，就是能承受的。
To Zhan, the call of the ocean is more than a job. It's a way of life marked by dedication, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to maritime safety.
我觉得吸引我的地方就在于它有一些不确定性。很多时候我们在出发的时候都不知道前方面对着什么，但是一次次的挑战磨砺，然后在这个过程中自己完成了成长，团队也完成了更好的凝聚。它让我觉得我对这个社会是有贡献的，还可以享受星辰大海，也是有一点浪漫的情节吧。
May 2019, Beijing Capital International Airport. Peter Crosby comes to China again.
I feel good. It's summertime here. It feels great.
Is it working cameraman?
Working cameraman, nice to meet you.
He kindly reminds us about the wire in front of the lens.
Look, you have
Oh.
Yeah, maybe not so good in the frame. This bag is 70 pounds.
The largest piece of luggage contains his sports gear from the US. This time, Peter will be staying in China for 6 months. He had leased out his condo in New York before setting off.
Somebody took it over last Thursday. I have no home. I have no home. Yes? She's heavy, heavy. Ooh.
Tonight, he will stay in a hotel in a hutung.
谢谢啊，慢坐。你好。
This reservation is double bedroom and without window.
Without a window? Oh no.
3 nights.
Oh, that would be depressing. Can we have a window?
Today we only have a family room. Family room, we will discount 400 yuan for 1 night.
So it's 160 more.
130.
Which is $30. No, it's okay. I'll stay without a window. Ta-da!
The next morning, he goes apartment hunting with a real estate agent.
走吧，我领你们过去吧，走吧，上来我骑着。
安全吗？安全吗？可能。
很近的。
很近的，附近的，可以。他是谁？
他现在在这儿住的房客，马上就搬走了。
Okay.
The tenant wouldn't let Peter in. He only gets a peek at the door and couldn't see much. He decides to try his luck with the next door neighbor.
I wanted to ask you just questions about your place.
I mean, I'm dressed like this.
Well, I'm dressed like this. So, well, hang on.
Weird. I mean, 很高兴。
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Hi.
Like new windows. So I'd like to ask you, if you don't mind. So this is very personal, and you can say no. How much rent do you pay?
Oh.
You don't have to say.
I think it's really high.
Yeah.
Compared to other place because it's a loft.
Loft is cool.
Yeah, and the furnishing.
Yeah.
Then,
Okay.
Thank you.
25 years ago, he biked all the way from Beijing to Hong Kong. This year, he plans to hit the route again to see the changes and meet old friends. He also plans to film the journey with his partners and make a film for his fellow Americans. Peter invests over $50,000 for this filming trip, but this is far from enough.
Again, money. That may not be the answer you want.
Yeah.
But
well, it's a real answer
yeah.
to the biggest challenge of this project.
I'm very confident now. Time traveler back in China message is so important and timely that we will get the funding we need. Sometimes you get snow.
Peter also has real Chinese friends. In 1988, Peter came to China for the first time as a freelance writer and photographer for the Los Angeles Times.
It's the first time I went to China, I fell in love with it because it was so wild and beautiful. Because I wanted to be closer to China and telling China stories. And that's when I had the idea about doing the bicycle ride. I wanted to be able to take photographs and video and tell stories in an integrated way.
In 1994, Peter and a friend set out from Beijing and rode all the way through Shanxi, Hubei, Hunan, Guangxi, and Guangdong before finally arriving in Hong Kong, crossing about 3,000 kilometers. The trip was obviously difficult, but the Chinese people in front of his camera were the most lively memories of the experience.
It's amazing to see all those people who let us film and photograph them so up close and very personally.
Peter was most impressed by the family in this picture.
And they lived in a dirt house, literally a dirt house, by the side of a mountain road. And this is, by that time it was like October, and it was starting to get cold, and it was rainy, and anyway, we were lost, and they said, come in, have some tea, have a hot potato.
It was during the 4th month of this trip when they got lost in the mountains in Badong, Hubei province. They became hungry, cold, and desperate.
As it got dark, they wanted to make us a meal. So they made us a very special local meal. And they had to borrow the pork from their neighbors. I think they had to borrow the cabbage too from someone else. I think their nephew ran out and got some cabbage. And so, but they cooked over a wood fire and coal fire in their home, and they made us this big feast. Pretty much in the dark, and they let us stay, and the children slept in the parents' bed so that we could sleep in the children's bed.
It could have been much worse, but turned out to be his best memory. Peter took this family photo before saying goodbye. For the next 23 years, Peter was busy with his work and life without returning to China. But he always remembered that Chinese person who didn't know him, but still offered to help.
And it's a little bit like somebody has it's a gift. I mean, it's a gift. I'm going back to say thank you in my way, in a little way.
I have not been here in
Over 2 decades later, he came back to China. Everything has changed. Where are the Lius?
Hello, my friends. Hello.
This is the daughter of the new family.
Nice to meet you.
A small family has extended and becomes a big one now.
We are lucky people because we are all here.
Like the rainy night 23 years ago, again they sat around the table. And again they took a family photo. This time, Peter was in it as well. The next day, Peter came to Liu's new house in Badong town.
Catman! It's amazing how included I'm being, even though my language skills are so bad, and we're using apps on our phones to communicate.
这个名字 是什么？
6-character hit.
The children brought a cake. As it turned out, Liu was born only hours before Peter. A happy coincidence.
Are you worried about getting old?
我不担心，我们是朋友，永远都是朋友。你到时候可以到我这里来，我们在一起住养老，没有问题。
You can come to me. I'll live with you.
是这个意思。
没问题，没问题。You are truly the most generous person in China.
The rendezvous with the Liu family in 2017 made Peter determined to repeat the trip from Beijing to Hong Kong.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is 1994.
Oh my God, that's fast. That's going from here to Miami. More. In 25 years, you haven't changed physically too much.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 58.
Okay, I'm 64.
Peter left his bike in this New York bicycle shop before setting off to China.
Yeah, I got to put my bike in storage for 6 months. What I'm trying to do is help Americans understand Chinese people.
Oh, that's good.
Stop with the fear, stop with the demonizing. It's like, you know.
We're very ignorant when it comes to...
In China, in the middle of China, there are folks just like you.
I wish I could go to China.
We're late.
What kind of China and Chinese people will Peter see this time?
We're good. That would be a really big story. Be really important for China, for people to be able to see how China's changed.
In Beijing, Peter Crosby is busy planning his bicycle trip. Learning Chinese, improving fitness, setting the course, and looking for sponsorships for his filming plans.
I think it's so important right now that Americans understand more about China's people. Not China, 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 and trade wars and South China Sea, not all the issues, but Chinese people, Chinese history, Chinese geography. And so same thing for Chinese people. I would like to be a representative of open-hearted, warm Americans so that they can see maybe a better side of Americans.
Hi, I'm Benji. I'm 12 years old. I'm in year 8 at Wellington College International, Shanghai. It's an easy question to answer why we like Chinese food. I've just grown up with it and it's been a big part of my life. So I have my dad, he is a chef.
Fat chef.
I have my mom, she's Hungarian, and she's a teacher at Wellington. She teaches music. And my sister, she's 15 years old. She's always quite annoying, but at the same time nice. She's always looking after me, and she's a student at Wellington as well. If I remember correctly, they met in Bermuda.
In the Middle East?
Or no, Bahrain. And my dad was working in a hotel. He met my mom, who was playing cello at the time. She was one of the performers. They ended up together. My parents came to Beijing because my dad, he got a job there after they met. And then in 2009, my sister was born, and then I was born. I like Chinese culture and this, because also at my school we celebrate Chinese New Year, Dragon Boat Festival, and so on. In my school, sometimes with my teacher I do calligraphy, and I practice my Chinese strokes and how I write. Of the teachers I have, they've influenced the way I learn and the way I look at Chinese culture. Why do you like to do Chinese food? Like, why do you like to cook it?
It's the flavors. It's the mixture, the sweet, salty, sour. And it just, when it comes together, it's perfect.
It's an easy question to answer why we like Chinese food. I've grown up with it. My mom, and dad, they came back from work one day. I just remember my ayi having, all kinds of foods laid out on the table, like mian tiao, baozi, and all that kind of stuff, and it just made me feel like China is my home. Usually for Chinese New Year's, we make jiaozi, and we love it. It's just fun. We put music on, my dad makes the meat, and we have made it actually quite a few times while we were in Shanghai, and turned out not bad. We always try to keep it as a family, and that's the good thing about Chinese food. It brings us together, and that's also why I love it. It's something that creates love. It might sound a bit cheesy, but I think it's a big part of my life that's brought my family closer and closer. 中华文化圈粉记，我们爱中国美食。
美国联邦政府关门的危机。
俄乌冲突将是笼罩此次峰会的阴影。敦促其他国家要避免火上浇油。
在这个半个地球以外的华盛顿给找到了。
他们希望让自己的生活变得更加美好。
你好吗？
This was the first group of students I took to China.
My journey is deep into China.
Not too many people get this view.
Very inspiring to look at.
Yes, this one's ready.
Mr. Christopher Nolan.
It's very exciting to be back in Shanghai.
I'm at NYU Shanghai. Give you an exclusive tour inside.
让更多的外国人更加理解了上海话的路途。
对接“一带一路”倡议。
大家可以看一下，我们这儿有两个小脚架，是中国制造，
搭载着天河核心舱的长征5号 B 遥2运载火箭从这里点火起航。
First villages in the city to be renovated as thought to be 的语言高度。
Welcome to the premiere of Chinese puzzle.
Learning the differences.
对我佩服，让月光下却一直害怕自己退步，你别。
SMG International.
Huangpu Marathon combines the International Roller Skating Marathon Tour.
Regarde, cet événement a l'air génial.
Oui, et Shanghai est juste magnifique.
Ça me donne vraiment envie d'y participer.
The Zootopia Park at the Shanghai Disney Resort.
В Китае отличная инфраструктура. Путешествовать очень удобно.
Время планировать поездку в Китай.
Are you ready to begin your studies in China?
I've already begun learning Chinese.
You can learn by following the Shanghai 24-hour live stream.
和中国的天空，我们在同一天打天下。
在世界的东边，有个文明古国，它叫中国。
Like it blows my mind.
China has been a leader in embracing investment.
Decoupling of the economies is not a solution.
Die Freundschaft mit China nützt unserer Wirtschaft.
Ich habe jetzt ein besseres Verständnis für viele Kooperationskonzepte.
I would say China's a lot stronger today in innovation.
You should really check out these explanatory reports.
Joe Biden's official presidential car is Cadillac One, otherwise known as the Beast. So is its Chinese counterpart the Beauty?
How big is a gram of gold?
In this incident, one could understand this as Western bias.
Wow, China is so different from what I imagined. Yes, we should understand China from multiple perspectives.
Shanghai is strutting its stuff on the global sports stage and is dead set on becoming an international sports mecca. And that's not just a bunch of talk. It can walk the walk.
The city hosts a slew of A-list international sports events. Take the Shanghai International Marathon, for example. Every year, it's like a carnival of endurance, where runners from all corners of the earth lace up their shoes and hit the pavement, sweating and smiling as they meander through city streets.
It's amazing. 30,000 people and it's such a seamless experience. It's incredible.
The 2024 Shanghai Marathon is the only marathon in China that is a candidate for inclusion in the Abbott World Marathon Majors.
It's a first step on the journey for Shanghai as a candidate event, and the team here have done an amazing job at this year's event already.
Then there's the Formula One Chinese Grand Prix, where the roar of engines is music to the ears of motorsport aficionados. And don't forget the first ever Formula E World Championship in Shanghai, where you don't need to wear earplugs at all.
So quiet.
Other than it's the biggest EV market in the world, which is incredibly important, the biggest motorsport fan base in the world, and just an incredible place to come and race.
And of course, Rolex Shanghai Masters has produced some of the most epic rallies in tennis, where Swiss legend Roger Federer returned for an exhibition doubles match.
Just to see Roger Federer play and hit some balls is a really special thing because he's the most elegant player ever.
The F1 Chinese Grand Prix and the Shanghai Rolex Masters achieved combined revenue of 520 million yuan in 2024, a record high. For the very first time, the Shanghai Longines Global Champions Tour ran until 9 p.m., allowing spectators to watch the action at night at this newly built futuristic-looking venue in Pudong.
We started 10 years ago, and we are very pleased that they have a vision to bring something like this. Obviously, Europe has more history, but China is catching up very, very fast.
Some city-developed sports events have also popped up, covering basketball, cycling, and virtual sports. The Meta SVS 2024 Shanghai Virtual Sports Open featured virtual rowing, cycling, racing, skiing, and golf, alongside new additions like jumping rope and soccer.
You might not be in the same area together. Through virtual sports, you're able to still compete. So I think it's really important for building a stronger community of schools together in the region.
目前我们还在考虑像虚拟舞蹈啊，包括可能虚拟跆拳道、虚拟无人机这样的一些项目，我们可能会有更多的国际运动员参与到我们全年的赛事当中来。
International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach had nothing but high praise for Shanghai during the Olympic qualifier series in May 2024.
Shanghai is a place, a city open to the world, and we know Shanghai, the people of Shanghai being passionate about sport, so therefore it was somehow a no-brainer to decide where we would go first.
All these events have been a magnet for top-notch athletes worldwide, turning Shanghai into a hotbed of sporting excellence. But it's not just about the big names and high-profile competitions. A total of 60 million yuan in sports vouchers were issued in 2024 by the Shanghai government, an initiative to encourage more people to take part in different sports.
Shanghai also continues to spruce up its sports facilities. They are even being squeezed into the most unexpected places, like underneath elevated highways, in the nooks and crannies of parks, and on street corners.
特别是像我们这样的运动，它是需要场地有一定的层高的，所以说对于我们这种极限运动来说特别合适。然后它高架下面也不会淋雨，所以说在下雨天我们也可以去训练。
The vibrant sports scene has locals all fired up. It's a 24/7 fitness fiesta, and everyone is invited.
像 I 人啊的话，自己的话就是比较适合这样的一个场地，然后包括它后面也会有更大的一个场馆，然后很适合我们不同的这个网球的爱好者去学习吧。
With all these options at their fingertips, the people of Shanghai are jumping on the fitness bandwagon faster than you can say touchdown, goal, or slam dunk.
In recent days, San Francisco has been longing for a fuzzy friend from the Orient. This is the second letter from San Francisco Mayor London Breed to Chinese President Xi Jinping in 3 months, bidding for a partnership to host giant pandas from China. The letter came after the end of a number of Sino-US panda loan agreements, and zoos across the United States were obliged to send pandas back to their home country one after another.
And now China wants them back. The Chinese government ready to take them back.
Voices of concern thus emerged in Western media, fearing China could halt its panda loan projects overseas. Over 20 pandas worldwide in total have been returned to China since last year.